Alright, so currently we have this game that we're making. I play, and then you can see, oops, and you can see this is what happens. Okay, so we basically just need to have something that keeps track of lives. We need to have a start screen, and I want to make it, that we respawn. Let's go ahead and do the start screen thing first, because that's actually the easiest. So what I'm going to do is just do File, New Scene, and I'm just going to do File, Save Scene As, and we're just going to go into our Scenes folder, and I'm just going to call it Start. Pretty easy stuff. Okay, and then we'll go to Scripts, and I'm going to make a new script. So Create, JavaScript, and we're just going to call this Start Script, because I'm not feeling very creative today. Script, and I'm going to create an empty object. I'm just going to call it Game Controller, and we are going to drop the start script on there. Good, that now has it, and I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to add the stuff I need to make this work. All right. Okay. Basically, I'm just going to make two functions. Function start game, and another function called quit game. Go figure. Okay, so on the start game, it's simply just going to be application.load level, and the level it's going to load is going to be main, because if you remember, that's what we named that. That's that other scene's name, and that's it. That's just going to load that level. And the other one's going to be application.quit, and there are no arguments, and that's it. Okay, so when you have things up in here, oops, Control Z. When you have things up in here, these are called parameters. Oops, and when you have them down here, they are called arguments. Okay, so it's the same thing, but basically one gets sent to the other. Okay, so this is already a built-in thing. That's all great. I'm just going to save it. We're not going to need that again. Well, we're going to use it in a second. Oh, did I screw up something? Where did I? Oh, no semicolon. Boom. Control S. Okay. Hopefully it'll be good to go. Good. All right. So now what I need to do is basically just make my UI. So let's get to it. So I'm just going to create UI, and I'm just going to do image. Now here's the thing. I would like you, if you would, make this like a custom background for your start screen. Make something nice, not just, I'm just going to do something real crappy. So if you look, I'm 1280 by 720 is what I made the resolution. So I'm just going to do the same thing here. I'm going to do 1280 by 720. 720. All right, and make sure I'm on game. You can see it's slightly off, and that's because my position stuff. So I'm going to click on this, hold Alt and Shift, click on the center. Now it's centered, and that's good. And I'm just going to take my color. I'm going to make it like a mid-gray. Okay, that's it for that. Now I just need to make the buttons, create, and UI again. And I'm just going to go ahead and do le button. There it is there. And we'll call this the start button. Beautiful. And I am going to click on this, hold Alt and Shift, boom, center it, and I'm going to move it up 50. I'm going to change the height of this to 50 and the width to 150, just so it's like kind of a nice even number. And that looks fine. Now the other thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and set up that if it's clicked on, I'm going to set up a thing for that. I'm going to grab my game controller, drop it in here, because that's where that script is, the one that says start script. And this one's going to be my start button. So I'm going to go to start game function that I just made. And so if you click on it, it does that. Now, the other aspect of this is literally writing start onto the text element of this. Yay. Now, what I don't like, though, is the font. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on the interwebs here, and I'm going to type in dafont, okay, so DAFONT.com. And you can look for a font that makes sense for what your game is. Okay, so let's do cartoon, since this is kind of, there we go, Jack in the Box. I'm just going to download, and we will save the file. Once it's downloaded, I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to right click and extract all. Extract, exit out of that one, Jack in the Box, there it is. Now what I need to do is make a new folder in here, we're gonna make a new one. We're gonna create folder, and I'm just gonna call it fonts. Okay, and I am going to drag my new font into fonts. Okay, so now I have this font that I can load in there. And on my text here, I'm gonna go ahead and change the font size to something a little bit better. Let's try 32, nice and big. And right here it says Arial, that's the default. I'm gonna go ahead and choose Jack in the Box. Little target, beautiful. And it's a little too big, so let's try 24. Good. And to me that looks a bit better. Yay. All right. Now what I'm gonna do is basically just duplicate this button, Control D. And I'm gonna call this one not Start button, but you guessed it, the Quit button. Oops. Quit button. All right, and it's going to be the same game controller still attached to it, but it's going to be a different function. Start script, it's going to be quit game. And I'm just going to move this in -50, so it's below, because it was on top of the other one. Change my text here to quit. All right, boink, and there we go. So now I have a start and a quit button. And I'm going to save it. Now the thing is, this won't work unless it's part of the building order. So I'm going to go to File, and we're going to go to where you build settings, and we're going to add open scene. And this is the current open scene. There it is, start. I'm going to click and drag it above, so it starts and then this one. Okay, that way this is the build order, and that's all I really need to do. Bam. So now if I hit play, and if I click on the start button, it will load up my game. Okay. The quit I can't really test because it's in the app. So once you build it, you can hit quit and it will quit the game, I promise. So that's good. So I'm just gonna go ahead and save this, and I'm gonna open up the other scene. So in my scenes folder, go back to main. Yay. I'm gonna add a UI element on here that just basically keeps track of current lives. Okay. Should be pretty simple. So all I'm gonna do is create UI text. And this will be lives, is what I'm going to name. Not lives, but lives. That's going to be what this text holds. I'm going to change the font to our Jack in the Box. And I'm going to change the position to top center. And oops. And I'm going to go from the top center to, let's say, -100. And we will change the size to, let's try 48. And I need to change the height here to 50. Maybe even higher. Let's do 100. There we go. And 48 is kind of big. Let's try 32. That's better. And then we're going to change the width to, let's try 300 just to make sure it's big enough. Good. And I'm going to center my text. And the text is just going to say lives. And it's going to start out with 3. I'm just going to have 3 lives. Okay? So that's just going to say how many lives that we currently have. So that's hooray. So that's that. And this is going to be updated through code. Okay, so I'm going to go to Assets, and we're going to go to Scripts, and I am going to make a new script that's just going to be player life. Okay, so I'm going to go Create JavaScript, and we're going to call it Player Life Script. Player Life Script. Like so. And I'm going to wait a second until it updates. There we go. And I'm going to drop it onto the player itself right here. Okay. Good. And then I'm going to take it and I'm going to open it up. And here it is here. Yay. Okay. So now let's get to it. All right. So this is actually going to have to engage with that, the text element up there. So I'm gonna have to first import the Unity engine .ui. Okay, so this is just basically, it imports this class that allows me to engage with the UI elements. So I'm gonna do a variable lives. All right, so this is gonna hold the number of lives, and it's gonna be obviously an int because you can't have half-life. Well, apparently not. They haven't made the third one yet. So, and we're going to start the number at 3. Okay, so we can change it later on if we want, but I think that makes the most sense. It might be something in your game. Maybe you can gain lives as you go, or you can lose lives. I don't know. And then we'll also do another variable called the life count text, and that's just going to be the actual text element. All right. And I'm going to do a couple more variables here. I'm a variable that's going to hold the player renderer, because what I'm going to do is that when it hits this death box, right now it just destroys the character. I'm going to have it turn the visibility of the character off, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it turn the visibility off and then reset the position up here. Okay, so it's going to look like they died, like you died, but in actuality you didn't actually die, you just turned invisible. And that way I can reposition it. If I kill you, then I can't put you back up here. So I'd have to spawn or instantiate a new player, and I don't feel like doing that. So, and that's going to be of the type renderer. Okay, so that's that attribute that allows you to see it. And we're going to do another one called variable player spawn position. So POS, and that's going to be a vector 2 because we're doing a 2D game. It's just it's a vector. And we're also doing another variable that is going to allow us to that's going to hold the transform of the player. Okay, and that's how we're going to move the character. So this is going to store where we want the character to go, and this is going to allow us to actually engage them. Right now they're just variables. We're going to have to store that information in there. So I'm going to go ahead and make a function awake. Function awake. It's kind of like start. The differences between awake and start is that awake is calculated first and then start is. Okay, so usually when you're trying to hook things up to each other, you do them on awake. Okay, so like if you're going to attach variables to components and things like that, this is a good spot to do it in. So we're going to do player renderer, and we're going to go ahead and do get component dot, and we want to get the renderer. All right, like that. Okay, beautiful. And I'm just going to go ahead and take that and copy it. Control C. No sense in writing more than we have to. And this will be player transform. So I'm gonna store the transform into this variable. So transform. All right, and that looks adequate. Now what I'm gonna do is go ahead on the start. I'm going to go ahead and do life count text.text, and I'm just gonna make sure that the text says what I want it to do. So I'm just gonna do lives space, and then it's gonna be plus concatenate the current number of lives. So basically, it's just gonna the text here, which I'm gonna have to attach. It's just gonna say lives and give it the number of lives currently, which it will start out at 3. So I just want to make sure that this text says exactly what I'm looking for. Okay, so that's what that's for. And then lastly, we're going to make a custom function called death. So basically, this is going to be called every time the character dies. All right. Good. So let's go ahead. I'm just going to save that, and we will see if there's any errors. And it looks like it's okay. So I'm going to go to my player. I'm going to rename this player. It doesn't matter, but it's good to name it player. And I'm going to scroll down, and you'll see where it says life count text. There's nothing there. So I'm just going to take my lives, which is this text here. I'm going to drop it onto life count text. And that way that one's all set up. Okay. And the rest of this is fine. It's going to get the player renderer as soon as it spawns. And it's going to get player transform as soon as it spawns. And the player spawn position, it's not going to calculate that until they die. Wherever it dies, I'm going to have the character respawn in the same location, but slightly off. Okay, so that's the idea. This won't calculate until we need it. We won't find this position. We don't need it right off the bat. All right, and we will do that in the next video.